Welcome to Sports Geek Throwback. Here's your host, the sports geek himself, Sean Callanan.
G'day, I'm Sean Callanan from Sports Geek, and welcome to Sports Geek Throwback, where I pick out the best bits from the Sports Geek podcast archive. For this week's Sports Geek Throwback, I go back to episode 228 with Jesper Søegaard, published in March 2019. Jesper was at Danks Boltsville Union at the time. He is now Retail Development Director at Lobbyco. Remember, if you need help across your digital, marketing and sponsorship efforts, please get in touch. We love applying the digital to dollars process with your team to help them build revenue. In this throwback episode, Jesper and I discuss the importance of data for your partners and sponsors. Remember, you can listen to the full episode at sportsgeekhq.com/228. Enjoy.
Once you get that view, you can then start looking at it from that 30,000-foot view of what is the data telling us and what opportunities are in that space. Is that where, I guess, the sort of the role, the digital commercial manager role started to develop because you started having that strong foundation of what your data was?
Yeah, that's exactly the way that everything developed. As soon as we got the general overview, we could pretty easily identify areas with potential, like low-hanging fruits. And my role at that point got split up. So we hired a ticketing manager that also handles the fan club now, and we hired a marketing coordinator to do like the more day-to-day work on setting up campaigns, and I was free to do more strategic things around the data, so I could like lead our business in the right direction from a business case standpoint. So looking at, okay, we could optimize our ticket sales by doing this, so I could create a CRM strategy. We can optimize our engagement work by doing this. I can do an engagement strategy. So like leading the company in the right direction, but always based on the foundation of data.
And was there a re-education process required? Because normally when you go from that siloed data with, that hasn't been brought together and have that single view, you'll have commercial relationships that, use dirty terms like email blasts and things like that. Was there a re-education process for, the commercial folk or the partners that you'd worked with in the past that have said, oh, cool, you would just send out an email, realizing that it didn't work, but that was the terms that they were using, where you're saying, no, it's actually going to be better if we send out this email just to these 30,000 people. It's half as many as we usually send out, but it's more effective. Was there? How did you go with that education process?
Yeah, actually, I think that's a great point because it's a whole nother mindset that needs to be implemented in a pretty much old school organization. And I think this whole development in 2014 came at a great time for the DBU because the years leading up to this, we had some two main challenges from a commercial standpoint. Ticket sales were dropping. We were having issues with selling tickets for home games. We were having huge issues with the loyalty. We had quite a lot of lapsing customers. Second challenge was selling main partnerships, sponsorship deals surrounding the national team, because as everybody knows, the sponsorship market has developed from like pure exposure to a much more return on investment focus from the partners. Yep. So we need the digital data track in order to create value for partners. So that was like the main two challenges that this whole mindset changed. And going back to your initial question, we actually did quite a lot of education internally in DBU. I presented slides for the entire house, the entire organization, visualizing how we now collect, we gather data pools in one single customer view. So being really, really specific on how each department can use this to create value. And at the same time, for the sales team, getting me involved in pitches for potential partners. So I can go to meetings and talk to Carlsberg or Hummel or other big partners on how we can use this in order to create value in their partnership. So we actually did the education from bottom up. So all departments got a take on it, and also I was going to the partners telling them about this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the vital piece, because if you do all the work back of house and don't tell the sales team and don't tell your partners, nothing changes. It's like you've done all this great work, and I'm guessing you're finding as you're going to more and more of these pitch meetings and meeting with partners that data is becoming more and more in focus, like especially as you said, moving more to a partnership rather than just pure impressions and that kind of thing. Is that what's leading the conversation? They're saying, tell us about your data, who have you got, that kind of thing. That's where it starts?
Yeah, actually, in sport, in the enterprise sponsorship world, that's different companies got different takes on how they see value in partnerships. Still a lot of they still see value in the whole image thing, getting their brand connected to the image of the DBU, especially when we got the World Cup and European Cup. But especially the last couple of years, they've been focused very much on the data, and that's been leading the conversation, especially with companies that sell directly to consumers. We got Carlsberg as a big customer, but they don't do like direct sales for consumers. They're more in bars and stores and stuff like that. So the data track maybe doesn't make that much sense to them. But we got Volkswagen as well. They are extremely interested in this because they are focusing on generating traffic to the car dealers all over Denmark, so we can do segmented campaigns in specific areas for specific age group with a specific income. That's extremely interesting for a company like them.
And that's the thing. I think that's the danger for sports marketers and commercial folk if they don't realise the difference between those two types of sponsors. Because you're right, there's still the Carlsbergs and out of the world that still just want the logo on the chest and want to be still seen as number one, and it is awareness piece. But if you don't understand that the customer acquisition piece and those types of sponsors, for a lot of people, they're getting it at a very cheap price because it's not being valued appropriately. Whether it's trying to sell electricity or telcos or those kind of things that are very much and they've been far deeper in the analytics and CRM space for far longer than sports, and so they know the value of their customer. And I think that's where I think that the game will be leveled up a little bit as sports lifts its game in that space.
If you like this Sports Geek Throwback episode, please check out the full episode at sportsgeekhq.com. Please share Sports Geek with your sports business colleagues. We appreciate you sharing. We love working with podcast listeners. Please get in touch so we can help your team. Go to sportsgeekhq.com/phone call. All Sports Geek episodes are available at sportsgeekhq.com and all podcast platforms.